Hmm. Hi, Remy.
Hi.
Hi. Great to have you here. I'm very excited about this because Remy's my best in real life. So I'm very, 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 very excited about this one because we've been getting a lot of questions from entrepreneurs around sales. Sales are really down right now for a lot of people like operating in Nigeria. We're attributing it to the economy, general economic downturn, and the elections that are coming up as well. It's affecting sales and generally like naira to dollar issues. But we found that entrepreneurs like Remy have been successful at selling to other markets, which has helped increase their sales. So yeah, hi Remy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Sorry,
So
I'm just going
yeah,
to my
no worries. we're going to dive right in with a brief introduction about your background. So, as most of you already know, Remy is the founder of Natural Girl Wigs, which is a black hair extension e-commerce company. I hope that's the right term that you're using. It's $1 million brand, let's be honest, and she founded it from Lagos, Nigeria, and she's shipping to clients or customers rather in 70 countries in the world. So, it's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. So yeah, Remy, I'm so excited to have you here today. Could you please give us a quick background as to how you got started in business and how you got here today?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm also very excited to do this, and I also post this across my socials because I've actually been getting like I constantly get questions, but like you said, like over the past 1 month, I've been getting a lot of people messaging me about like accessing global markets and stuff like that. So I'm happy to be here. My name is Oluremi Martins for anyone who is just finding out about me, and I own Natural Girl Wigs, a textured hair extension company, and we provide hair extensions for Black women. That's our niche. We do not sell every kind of hair. We just sell hair that most Black women would love because it's authentic to their texture. Actually, at Natural Girl Weeks, we have now exceeded the countries we've shipped to. We've now shipped to over 80 countries, and
Wow.
yeah, the goal for and also one of the things we've been able to do is to establish ourselves as a business in like multiple countries. So aside just shipping to like different countries, because you can ship to different countries, we also like majorly sell in the US. So we're a US business as well as a business that is operating in the United Kingdom as well. So, Natural Girl Week started in 2008. From my journey, I used to work in digital marketing as head of digital marketing, and I actually started as a page. I started as an Instagram page, and that's how we started curating content for like Black women, inspiring them on Black beauty, Black hair, Black, all things Black beauty in general. And that was how I was able to test the need for my product in the market, and that's how we've been doing the business since it started. Yeah.
Okay, so would you say your experience in digital marketing really contributed to how you were able to launch the business?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I always tell people that like I'm the woman that sells hair that doesn't make hair. I I started the business not from the angle of, oh, I'm so good at making wigs, because I actually do not make wigs, but it was like I like this thing. I think many people would want it, and I happen to be very good at marketing as well. So like my digital marketing experience and like doing communications and everything is like 60% of like what made me even have the confidence to start this and everything. So yes, my marketing experience absolutely helped me to like launch and scale. Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. So we would say that the key things that you did was you leaned into the experience that you had in the past and you tested the market first. You tested that you tested first that for customers that were available for the product that you were trying to sell before you now
Yeah.
actually started selling the products.
Yes.
So how did you find like how like say how did you decide on this niche?
So as I always say that I sort of started a business from my own need. It was something that I wanted for myself and I was looking
Mm,
for, and I actually happened to, I'm sort of like passionate about hair. I've always been passionate about my hair. And I sort of like had an awakening. And I'm like, I really would prefer to like wear textured hair extensions, right? And I went on the
Mm-hmm.
internet looking for like kind of styles that I wanted. And I really didn't see many people selling it. It was actually very few businesses in the US that were doing this business. And most of them were owned by like Asians, like Chinese men, and so on and so forth. I think I found only two businesses that were owned by Black women who did this. And I'm like, you know what? I would actually want to do this because I really didn't see people doing it locally as well. And even generally in the global market, I definitely think that there's a need for more people to like come into this space because it wasn't saturated at the time. I still do not think it's saturated. But yeah, so it was like something that I wanted, and I'm like, I know other people would want this as well. Let me go into the market social space and test this theory. And that was how I started the page called Brown Girl Nigeria. And from there, I saw that there were definitely people who wanted the product.
That's nice. I actually remember that page because you were
Yeah.
posting,
Yeah, like I
curated
would
images for so long, for like a year.
yeah, like I posted for a very long time. I would just,
Wow. Wow, that's
create
amazing.
I mean, that era on Instagram, there used to be many pages like that. So once like a celebrity post a picture that is in line with like the kind of stuff I wanted on the page, I would just lift it and shout them out and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So my next question is this: what made the difference for you? What catapulted you from, just a girl with a dream to international brand? What was the catalyst?
So for me, I think that from the beginning, to be honest, I've always wanted to like do this business for like black women all over the world. Like I really think obviously I knew that there was a barrier, I was in Nigeria and everything, but I knew that it was also possible. So like
Hmm.
the mentality has always been there. Even though I started like with the local market, the mentality has always been there that we're just trying to sell to black women wherever they are, like maybe a Nigerian who happens to be in England or in the US or like and a black American, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
was also exposed to a lot of pop culture growing up. So I knew that black Americans, most times when we see their hair, we sometimes think it's their real hair. Many times it's like extensions, but they happen to use a lot of extensions that actually match their hair type, which was like the
Hmm.
disconnect locally here. So I always knew that I wanted to like sell hair extensions globally. And I think what really like I say a funny story about the moment I'm like, wow, I'm definitely going to go after this market. Was there was a customer that wanted to get like an Afro wig, and she has been, we've been trying to get her to make payments. Then Flutterwave and Paystack were not really even doing like trying to like, do international payments. And it was very hard to sort of like get someone to pay you. So this woman literally had to drive all the way to like the other side of our town to get a Western Union that would like make payments right to Nigeria. And at that point, I'm like, yes, definitely.
You hit the
Like,
jackpot.
yeah, I definitely need to, start thinking of how to do this better, how to register a US business, how to get payments easily and stuff like that. But even prior to then, we just like had people who would pay. I think I can't remember now, but there's this platform where people used to make payments then.
And it's
I
not
can't.
PayPal.
No, it's not PayPal because I mean then you have to like you need to have like a PayPal account to like receive payments with like PayPal, right? Like and with Nigeria.
MoneyGram, Western Union.
Yeah. No, it's not even Western. I can't remember now. Maybe when I remember later. But there was this platform that very few people who were like Nigerians abroad could like they would connect their accounts and it used to work well. So we've had a number of customers like use that a couple of times a week. But just saying this person who was an American saying, oh, I really need this here, my friends want it as well. I'm going to take money and go and pay at with a Western Union. And for me, it's like that means a lot of people are looking for this product online,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that was like the moment for me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to like really take this to the next level.
Wow, it's amazing. So not only did all those first things, you identified your niche, started building community around your product, and then you also, identified that there was demand in international markets.
Yes,
So,
specifically US, yes.
specifically the US. So I would ask you a question now. What would you do different, or how would you go about it if you're going to build a global brand? today, like starting today with, zero, starting from zero today, essentially, how would you go about building a global brand?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question because I was having this conversation with someone. I was just thinking about like the little changes on like starting now and like starting maybe 3 to 4 years ago. To be honest, I don't think that much has changed. I just think that it's the way that people are approaching it. So right now, I see a lot of people who are trying to like sell to international markets, and they just start running ads. They just start, running ads, paying influencers in all of these countries to like get sales. And after like a couple of trials, they're like, oh, it's not really working. And that's actually like the bad way to go about it. The best way to go
Wow.
about it is to actually start from like your market research, right? It's very
Okay.
important for you to actually research that market. And when I say
Mhm.
research the market, I'm talking about researching your competition, researching the stakeholders in that market. By stakeholders, I mean what is the press saying about that industry? What is, for example, most likely if you're a Nigerian business trying to sell abroad, you're probably trying to target like black women abroad, right? Because of like
Mhm.
the kind of models you use, they're mostly black and everything. So people buy from where they can connect with. So you're most likely connecting to like other black women abroad. So you need to look at the stakeholders in terms of like what is like the black press saying about that industry. What is the kind of press they typically get? The influencers that promote for that industry, like how do they promote? What are the things that they're saying? Like when they buy products themselves, which is these influencers, to create content, what are the kind of organic reviews they give about like the competitors in that space? Like just getting actual facts that will help you to actually then build your own angle. Because when it comes to like online marketing and like e-commerce, what you're really selling and what you really have above anyone else is your storytelling and your angle, not
Mm.
necessarily the product, not necessarily the marketing spend. Right now, like any small business can literally like get a portion of the market share, and that means you need to develop your own narrative, right? So if I was starting all over again, I would do the same thing that I did, but even deeper by doing more research of the market. So my competitors, what is the gap? What is different from what can I offer differently from what they are offering? And it doesn't even mean that
Mhm.
my product has to be 10x better than theirs. It just means that there might be a certain angle, a pain point, or something that really just differentiates me and them. And I can use that to sort of like coin a narrative for my own product. And that can be the angle I use to market. So instead of you just promoting your ads, like when you're promoting your ads, understand that these people in these other markets, first of all, they have like a very huge budget that you do not have. Very few people will even see your ads to start with. People most likely do not even trust you because like you're just a brand in some faraway place promoting to them. Like, it doesn't really connect. So first of all, you need to like do that research. So when you then do that research and you are able to like craft a narrative that sort of like differentiates you, craft angles for your content that makes you really stand out and make people really look, you can then apply that to your marketing. So if it's content you want to be creating, you can apply those angles to your content. If it's ads you want to really go ad on, you can apply those angles to your ads because you need to then create ads that are sort of like, thumb stopping ads, right? Because you want to do ads that once people see on their TL, on their stories, they're stopping and looking and like, oh, what are these people saying? What are they selling? And if you're just promoting your ads like that, like anybody else would, there's nothing that really differentiates you. Another
Appreciate
vital
you.
thing that people really need to understand is that marketing over there is way more expensive than here. If I spend $20 to $30 a day marketing in Nigeria, I can literally make $1,000 back. But it's not the same thing with the US because the cost of advertising there, per click, per
Is
customer,
is higher, is way higher.
it's very high. So you really need a strategy with your ads, and you need to like do things that would like make you different, make you stand out, that would actually cause people to look at those ads. Another thing that I would do, I don't know if you want to stop me here.
No, no, please go on. You're sharing knowledge. We're here to listen to what you have to say.
Okay, so another thing that I would definitely do is instead of like just off the jump, start sending products to influencers and making payments. One thing that I would do after I finish, right off after I finish my influencers analysis by looking at what the influencers are saying in that industry, not necessarily niche influencers, but just general influencers that happen to use the kind of product I sell. I would then start by doing influencer seeding. I would identify a bunch of influencers that I can just give my products in hope that they will do a review, or just, if it doesn't even have to be a review that they will post, it could just be a review to myself, like, and just saying what they experience about my products, what makes my products different, how do they receive my product differently, like what angles would they use to even share to their audience about my product. Identifying this is also something that would help me in like crafting a narrative, and it will even give me like organic people, right? As I said, for me, the moment for me was saying that there was actually demand for my product. I would not advise anyone now to start chasing international markets if there's really no demand for your product. You do not have any
Mm.
kind of angle that you can use to like, you know, get a
Capture
a good,
your audience.
yeah, because you just be spending money endlessly. So trying the organic route to first test the market and see if there's an actual need for your product will then give you everything you need to then start marketing properly. So I would do influencer seeding, I would do marketing research, I would then wait and see what the result of all of that is. If I'm able to then get a signal that there is need for my product, then I'll now start marketing and then building a brand in the market I want to launch at. Another mistake that I see people making is trying to just launching to global markets, which is one of the things I am also trying to like tone down when I talked about international markets. International markets is different from trying to enter into the US market. I would generally advise that you start with a certain market, try to like enter one market, and then get customers from that market. Because when you focus on one market, you're going to be focusing on understanding the marketing in that market. You're going to be
Mm-hmm.
focusing on understanding the customer behavior in that market. And customer behavior is different across countries, right? So I think it's generally better to just pick one or two market at most that you're actually trying to get into. And everybody knows that once you get into the US market, you can, like you're a global business at that point because people from like different places will shop from you. So just having a focus on the markets you're trying to enter as well is like very important, because that way you're like sort of like streamlining your knowledge, the things you're experimenting on, the knowledge and everything, and it just makes it easier for you to like break through.
Okay. So when you say that, you what you mean is that, do you mean like you focused on penetrating the US market and the other 69 countries just followed essentially?
Yes, like I've never focused on any other market apart from the US. Actually, the
Fascinating.
UK was a buy product
Byproducts, yeah.
of me
But
like
you've
trying to.
never, would you, sorry, I have a technical question to ask. You've never advertised in any of these 70 countries,
No,
or
honestly,
your ads?
now we now advertise, and even the kind of advertising we do is not necessarily advertising on a full scale. We only advertise to people from like, we only advertise using the material. Let me try to be technical now. So if someone from like like people from different countries are coming
Mm-hmm.
to our website, we use their data to sort of like build an audience that might be interested in us from the countries they are in. And then we also
Okay.
retarget them. But we do not necessarily have like a full on marketing strategy for like these other markets, right? They just happen to land to us because what focusing on the US market does for us is it makes it easy for us to accept payments from anywhere in the world, right? Which is like the number like what's it called? It's the number one thing for us, right? So it means that if someone from Trinidad and Tobago finds us on search, they can easily shop on our website without any barrier because we're registered with like a US payment that allows us to receive payments easily, right? Do I promote to people in Trinidad and Tobago specifically? No, I do not.
No.
Launching a US business means that anywhere in the world, people can shop from us, people can make payments, like we can do anything, right? So we do not specifically market to any other country. We just recently started marketing, fully in the UK because we've seen enough data that shows that we are making sales in the UK every day. People are buying from the UK every day. So it makes sense to then, invest in that channel and then broaden what we are doing. But apart from the US and the UK, we do not, even Canada, we do not specify, even though we make sales from Canada a lot, but like everything we do in the US just streamlines into Canada. It's not like we specifically market in these countries. Yeah.
Okay. Fascinating. So, you mentioned that your business is registered in the US. Is this a prerequisite? Is it compulsory for businesses that want to target a certain country to be registered in that country as well before they start doing business in that country?
For a couple of reasons, I would say that it's very important. But again, at the testing phase of like you just even finding and trying to validate yourself, you do not need to. But once you validated yourself, I would advise that you have a US business, especially for like payment reasons, especially for things like USPS, like depending on like the third party partnerships you would sign for like shipping in the country and things like that, and also your taxes as well. Like once you register your business, you once you want to have like a bank account, because you would need a US bank account as well. You would definitely need to register your business in order to have like a US bank account, right? That's very important. And obviously, you cannot be launching in the US market without paying taxes. Even though you might pay the littlest of taxes that you would pay, at the end of the day, you will still need to like have a business registered so that
Okay.
you will be following the due process, right? Because you don't want like your whole business to just collapse because like you're owing taxes. So from the moment where you validated that you actually have potential in this market and you want to take like payments seriously, you want to take shipping seriously, like other things like other opportunities that you can have access to. And one thing about having a business in the US, registered in the US, is the opportunities it also opens you up to. So, like you have opportunities for credit as well. There are many credit platforms such as Clearco, such as PayPal, such as like Shopify as well, in terms of like giving you credits for like inventory for marketing as well. So those are opportunities that you can get, like instant access to credit when you have like a US registered business. So I think that absolutely, if you're like you're ready to go into the market, you would definitely need to register a business there.
Okay. That's very good. So, what's one mistake that you see entrepreneurs that are trying to push into the global market make? So, in our experience, we find that a lot of clients that come to us, they come, to say that, oh, they want to launch in the global market as more of like, okay, I'm tired of Nigerians and I just want dollars, and that's understood. There's nothing wrong with that. But what's the biggest mistake that you see a lot of people make when they're trying to make this switch?
Okay. I think the first thing that I see is this old dollars, let me try and make dollars thing. It doesn't just happen like that. Like you have to be patient. Which is why, like, even because currently sort of like designing a course, which I've been designing forever, by the way. But like one thing that I see is that people have this, oh, I can make like $100,000 in a year. I can make this. Everything is a slow process, especially because as a business coming from Nigeria, I still consistently say this, you really do not have money, to be honest. Like you see businesses in the US doing e-commerce spending as high as $2,000 on ads every day. You don't have money, right? So you need to sort of like slow down with like your expectation. The most important thing I would say is knowing that, in the long run, it's going to make sense, right? In the long run, it's going to make sense. So you have to like plan properly ahead of that. One of the mistakes I see, which I already mentioned before, is seeing people just launching into the US, like start running ads, start sending influencers. Like it doesn't work that way, because you're just going to see that you're losing money and then start sending their products like a third party person and all of that. First of all, like because of the cost of advertising, the cost of influencers, they are much more expensive. You need to even look at how is this making sense for my price point, right? How is it making sense for my price point? What can I do to actually ensure that all the money I'm spending on marketing, I can actually make it back? So you need a strategy thinking first, strategic thinking of like even your product, even your pricing. If you're launching into the market, how do you want to factor in the pricing? Factor in the cost of marketing with the pricing strategy that you want to use. How do you want to factor that in with like the cost of you actually getting customers? Like that is very important. I think it's very important to do research. I see a lot of people go in without research. I see a lot of people thinking that all they need is a viral reel for them to start getting like customers in the US, which, to be honest, it's a good way to validate that you can actually excel in that
Mm-hmm.
market. But then again, you need sustainability. Like, for example, I know someone who just like, she had like a good moment where she sold like 100 items in the US, and then she started shipping her products like third party people, and she was unable to sustain that, and she had to pay for like warehousing, and she was already spending money on hats and everything. And her business is the kind of business that can actually do very well in the US, but what she lacked was her like literally like looking at the strategy to actually be sustainable in that market. I
Hmm.
would say I'm queen of sustainable sales. I really do like sustainable sales. I don't like to just get 1,000 orders in a day and like get into like the panic mode and everything. I like to know that if my marketing and my operations is currently sustaining 30 to 40 orders in a day, let's be able to do that effectively and then see how we can scale like to our next level. So strategy is very, very important. Doing your research is very important. It's not all about the ads. It's not about try to start slowly getting into the market, even observing your channels that are working for you. So for example, for myself, we do a lot of sales from SEO, like people in the US just finding us through, the products that we sell because we rank for like all of our products, right?
What is SEO? You're getting very meta at this point. Please
Sorry,
break
I'm
it
going
down
to
for
go
us.
into that. But the point I was actually going to make is that you need to also know your channel, right? For some people, ads might work better for them. For some people, just creating very great content that goes viral on reels and everything might be like what really works for them and everything. Knowing your what's it called, what works for you, and then consistently growing and expanding on it is very important. So that you're not trying so many things and spending so much money. And at the end of the day, you're trying to chase dollars, but you're losing dollars because you're spending a lot of dollars trying to. Yeah. So I would say that just try to be strategic, try to do a lot of research, and try to start slow so that as you're going slowly, you're identifying the things that are working and you're able to like double down on it.
Hmm. Okay. So you mentioned SEO. Can you just what is a simple,
Yeah,
not more
SEO
than
is
1 minute, what's a simple SEO formula that entrepreneurs that don't have SEO knowledge, or entrepreneurs that are not as digital
To be
market
honest,
savvy
I'm
as
going
you
to be
are
honest
can
with
implement?
you. There's nothing I can say in 1 minute that will teach anyone who doesn't really know SEO how to like go do SEO. And I have to be factual. SEO though is search engine optimization, which is ranking for keywords, which is like when I type in Google, I see your page, I see your website, I see your link. That's how to do SEO. But SEO is something that is very technical and it takes a step by step process for you to actually find the hack for it. If you're interested in investing in it and you find someone that can execute it for you good, I think it's something that you
Mm.
can also execute for yourself. I recently went on Instagram Live to talk about how to actually validate that SEO can work for your business, but unfortunately, I couldn't save the Instagram Live because my phone just went off. So I'm considering actually
Wow.
recording it. But first, before you go into SEO, you need to first on like validate that it can actually work for your business because not every business can actually leverage SEO. It depends on your user behavior and the part in which your customers discover your product.
Discover you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very important. So please, just about again for any business you can work with, I always say that it's the most sustainable way and path for you to grow, especially if you're interested in the global market. As I've said, ads are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Influencers are literally like dipping now, in my opinion. Influencers are not as effective as they used to be. So finding a sustainable channel is very good for every business. But first, before you go through the SEO route, validate that it can actually work for your business and be prepared to invest long term. By investment, I didn't necessarily mean money, but like investing your time, putting 6 months to 12 months into something, knowing that it's going to give you sustainable growth for years. It's not something that you will do. And if you don't see sales tomorrow or
There's
next
no
month,
overnight results.
then you switch it off. So, yeah. So, it's something that I
Okay.
advise you. First, you need to validate it. Yes.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much for that. So, funny that you mentioned influencers. I've noticed of late that a lot of the really, really big brands, well, big brands, quote unquote, brands that they have a huge budget, are now like they are big on influencer marketing, and I feel like it has really ruin the market. I was trying to book influencers for a client a couple of months ago, and the rates that influencers are giving these days is literally times three what I was getting last year, which is a big headache. So
Sorry,
my next question.
can you repeat that?
Yeah, so I said that I was trying to book influencers for a client about a
Mm-hmm.
few months ago, and essentially their fees, their rates have essentially tripled from what I was seeing last year. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's mostly because a lot of companies that have big budgets for marketing are are entering the influencer marketing game, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of that's changed the whole scene essentially. So for entrepreneurs that don't have a huge following, or don't have the budget to compete with bigger brands for influencers, people that have less than 10,000 their community, on their socials, on their mailing list, how can they replicate the same success that Natural Girl Wigs has had? Like, what are the resources that they can look to tap into when they don't have that huge following, or that huge budget, or long email list?
To be honest, 100%, I would say you have to go back to content creation. And content creation is like from technical product content to your product pages to your Instagram content to your stories content. Like, you have to go deep and crazy about content. And honestly, like, I'm the perfect example for this. We still use influencers, by the way, but this is something that we've also drastically reduced because, as you said, like, we have influencers literally wanting us to pay $10,000, and like, yeah, so we really cannot. Yeah, like,
Why?
people got people got VC money, venture capital money, and started paying influencers $10,000 per post. Like, influencers with like 15K followers. So generally, like, influencer marketing has gone to shit, like, as far as I'm concerned. So for me, we still work with influencers too. But what we do right now with influencers is that instead of looking at influencers who are generally first, and another thing I have to say is that most influencers are not bringing in sales anymore because their audience is washed up. Like, people already know that you're selling, and the way people are even discovering products now has really changed. The scene is like really changing, like with like TikTok and Reels and all of that. And the beautiful thing about this is that it has created a level playing field for everyone. So even as a brand, you can literally access the same audience that an influencer will get you. And if you want to then use influencers, I always advise that use influencers that your target audience follow religiously, but not necessarily for your content, right? So, for example, your target audience could be following a woman for cooking and everything. They are women, but that woman, because they follow her religiously, she doesn't post anything about fashion. So when she posts things about fashion, people will actually believe her. The people who have been following her, who she has never promoted fashion to, they'll most likely buy from her. That has worked for us like tremendously. Like, we're getting like 10x results from using influencers like that. So dump all those Instagram body influencers. They're not bringing sales. They're just going to waste your money. So, like, 100%, like, that's like my own strategy now to influencer marketing. And then affiliates, we do a lot of influencer seeding at Natural Girl Wigs. We work with influencers on a very deep level. We try to build relationships as well with influencers that bring us value. Also, we are going to 3x into investing in our content. And our content has been doing so well for us. Like, if you go on our Instagram page right now, we literally have our own content reaching 50K, 100K people, just content that we are producing in-house. The goal for it is looking at what your audience wants and creating actual technical content. So one of the things I would advise brands to do right now is like go deeper into your market, not necessarily wider, because people are complaining about sales and everything. At the end of the day, going deeper to like really shake your target audience and showing them that we are the ones you should buy this product from. You really need this product. This is how valuable this product is. And creating content that literally tells that story, that gives them that depth, is something that would really help you as a brand, because you're not only creating content to sell, you're creating content to share, you're creating content for people to save, you're creating content to inspire people, to give people
Mhm.
something to, to sort of like, oh, this is something I want to get next. This is some So doing that a lot for brands is something that I advise because that's something that is currently working for us. 2 months ago, I shared on my Twitter that I wanted to like increase sales by like 20% month on month.
Month on month.
Yeah, and I've been able to do that successfully. Like we even passed like 40% last month. And I'm telling you
Wow,
that
congrats.
80% of this is actually work that we are doing as a team within the company, not from an influencer, not from just from our content, our own ads, and yeah, mostly from our content and our ads and then our SEO as well. Because email is something that I'm also trying to like re-engineer, like redo things and like change the way we are doing things as well. So as a brand, this is the best time. As far as I'm concerned, people are saying that, oh, this is bad. But for me, this is the best time because you have the opportunity to control your own narrative, your own sales, your own this. Like just invest in doing things and not depend so much on like other people, which is like influencers and so on and so forth. And then when you're working with influencers, make sure that there's an angle that they are selling. Make sure that these are influencers that can actually sell products and not just influencers that you're working with because everyone that is your competition is working with them or they make nice videos. Like there has to be a reason. And that reason needs to include the people that can reach for you because as an e-commerce brand, like that's the most important thing. When you reach multiple people, when you reach valuable people, you are then able to convert them, whether now or later through retargeting or
Mm.
through other things. So like that's my advice for brands.
Okay, so I'm going to double down on this content topic now. So in the past, a lot of people have shared what should be your ideal content war chest. Aside the obvious things on Instagram, video content works better. Reels are the best thing now. The algorithm is following reels, or reels are the best way if you're trying to get as much reach as possible.
Mhm.
Then other things, you should create how to content, you should create I don't know, inspirational content and all. I feel like all these things are just like buzzwords. What is the actual type of content that you need to create? What kind of resources are you looking to create content that cuts across markets?
To be honest, the background and the foundation starts from your content pillar as a brand. All of these
Mm.
things that you said are true, but it needs to align with your content pillar as a brand. Like you need to literally face your work. Like like you need to be like Uche at this point and face your work. Like for me, like we have identified we also did a lot of research as well and like saying like earlier was it late last year we spoke to like hundreds of our customers and it's something we also did last month as well which I'm even just concluding analysis for which is speaking to our customers a lot. I
Very
think that
good.
brands do not do that as much as we
Mm-hmm.
used to because before like influencers and ads became like the easiest way to make sales. Like brands literally have to do the work, right? So I think people need to go back to the drawing board, speak to customers, know your content pillars, know the things that drive sales for you. You shouldn't be worried about the kind of content you want to see on your page, but the kind of content your audience wants to see on your
Want to
page.
see, yeah.
Know your content pillars will help you then know the kind of content you should be making. So for example, one of the biggest shock that happened for me last year through our research is knowing that 80% of our customers are not women with natural hair. They are women who love the natural look, right? And that's the
Mm-hmm.
end. So creating a lot of content around natural hair styling was not working for us because our audience couldn't relate. What our audience could relate with is the natural styling, like the natural look styling. So whether I have relaxed hair, whether my hair is cut, whether my hair is curly or anything, I
Wow.
want a look that has the natural look, right? I want to be able to achieve a natural looking simple style. And those are the what's it called? Those are the factors that we took in and used to sort of like re-engineer how we do any kind of marketing that we are doing. So that
I
our
feel like that reflected in your products as well. Like,
yeah,
that you started creating products that had that natural look, not essentially styling your hair
exactly,
to.
exactly. So as a
Yeah,
brand,
yeah. I noticed that. Yeah.
put that into
That's
like a
very important. Listening to your customers is definitely number one on.
exactly. So like
Yeah.
taking all of that in sort of like really helped us improve and everything. And to be honest, I actually cannot relate to people saying that sales has dwindled in Nigeria right now. I think that this is the best time because the e-commerce barrier to entry now in Nigeria is getting lower. More people are comfortable buying online, more people are shopping on the website. If you're an e-commerce brand, you should be making more money right now. That's
Mhm.
my thought. So like just going deep into like what your customer wants and then crafting a content pillar. And let me just quickly explain what a content pillar is. A content pillar is literally like your talking point, your the what's it called, your, let me just use talking point as a simple way to like describe it. So if you're selling jewelry, like your content pillar would literally be styling, because a lot of people use jewelry to sort of like accessorize their style. Your content
Yeah.
pillar could also like be like jewelry maintenance, because a lot of people have that issue of like maintaining their jewelry. Your content pillar could also be like inspiration. So like looks like, what look should you wear for a wedding? What look should you wear for like date night? What look like, because that contributes to sort of like accessorizing. So you crafting that content pillar would then help you to know the kind of content you want to be creating every day. So if my content pillar was style, accessorizing, maintenance, and all of that, I would literally do a lot of maintenance videos with my products and show people that my products are very low maintenance. So I'm
Okay.
removing that barrier for them and saying that you won't need to spend so much time maintaining your tarnish whatever, because this is actually how simple it is with our product, and that is what your competitor is probably not even teaching or showing, because and for many customers that's probably the barrier for why they're not even buying tarnished
Yes.
jewelry, because they're like, it's hard to maintain all of that. So like just showing customers that, like, I always say that it takes just one video for you to convince like an intending customer that they should actually try your product. And for many businesses, a customer just needs to try you once and experience your product, and you can make so much money from that one customer. So just going deep into, like, we could talk about content all day, to be honest, but I would say that brands need to go back to the drawing board and like really get obsessed with their customers again, in terms of like knowing what your customers actually want, who are your customers, and then learning so much about how you can serve them quality content. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with you in thinking that content is a means of removing sales resistance. The goal is to demystify your product, and to explain why this is the next best thing to your customers. So essentially,
Mhm.
to just remove every form of doubt that they will have in their mind that they should buy from you. That should be
Mhm.
the goal of content. And if once you understand your customers and how they think and what triggers them, I agree 100% that it will increase sales if you double down on content. I agree with you.
Definitely.
So yeah, I mean, we mentioned that sales are down generally for a lot of entrepreneurs in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what advice would you give for people to boost their sales under these current economic conditions, especially with the way the dollar rate is going? Anyone that is buying to sell or
Yeah,
buying to
like
retail is having a really hard time right now.
it's really crazy. It's so crazy because I made a tweet where I was like, when I started business, the cost of clearing goods was I think $2.8 or like 3.5 at the most.
What? Wow.
It's close to $10 now.
It's like
And then
about $10 now, yeah.
yeah, and then the exchange rate was even like 300 and something or so, or 200 and something. And now the exchange rate is like 600 and something. So, like, things have gone bananas. I still think that first of all, I think that e-commerce have grown in Nigeria. I'm looking at my own data. I'm looking at the data of like a couple of brands that I've either worked with, or my like people that I know who are doing well. E-commerce has actually improved in Nigeria in terms of like the market is expanding and more customers are shopping online now. To be honest, Nigeria economy doesn't make sense because on one hand, people are poorer. On the second hand, I'm seeing a trend of people really buying things that are not necessarily necessities. So I don't know what data we are working with, but that's the reality of what I'm saying. I still think that brands need to like really know their customers, know what they are looking for. Because no matter what your business is doing right now, there are actually businesses in your industry right now who are doing amazing well. Like they're doing very
Hmm.
well. So what are they
Yeah,
doing?
I agree.
What are they doing? So anybody can do well. Like you just need to find out what is it right now that you're lacking. Another thing I always say is that brands should try to go deeper instead of wider, because of the fact that maybe things are not really working as well. I'm seeing a lot of entrepreneurs launching multiple businesses or trying to launch more products and all of that, which is a good thing. But sometimes you need to like really go deeper apart from your product offering, also in the way you communicate with your products, like showing your customers that you have the deep expertise and you have the deep knowledge, and there should be a
Yep.
reason why they choose you over every other person makes you really stand out. Also, in terms of like improving yourself as an entrepreneur, I think it's very important that you are going deeper in your knowledge. So, one of the decisions I made like early this year is that I wasn't really going to compound like all the like I wasn't going to like increase the channels we're using trying to sell. Like I didn't have to increase our channels. Like for example, like people have reached out to me, oh come and do TikTok ads, come and do this. I do not necessarily need to go like wider in terms of like marketing channels. I just need to go deeper. The truth is that there are businesses who are doing $50,000 a day from like Facebook ads today, right? So if I'm making $1,000 or $2,000 from Facebook ads, that's not like the opium. That's not the highest I can go. It means that there are deeper things I can learn about Facebook ads. There are deeper things I can learn about how to convert my customer more. Instead of like going
I
to
agree.
other things, like through email marketing as well, there are deeper things. Can I improve my email flows? Can I improve my email marketing strategy? What can I learn more about what I'm currently doing, especially what is currently working? So if as a business, maybe your biggest way of making sales is influencers, even though I am saying that influencer marketing is mostly dead, if your business is making most of their sale through influencer, you can go deeper into how can I then improve that influencer marketing revenue 10x? How can I 5x it? How can I 3x it? So just going deeper in every area, both from like your marketing point of view and even like your knowledge seeking. Like if people are doing millions of dollars through what you're doing right now, it means that you've not gotten to the best of it, and there's room to go deeper in your knowledge and your learnings and just understanding how your customers are reacting to this. So that's my advice for anyone who is currently struggling or trying to like make more sales.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with you. So my next question is this. This is a personal question. I mean, please, we're sharing here, so we're gonna ask you this one. What are the challenges that you faced as a Nigerian entrepreneur, and how were you able to overcome them?
To be honest, I feel like as a Nigerian entrepreneur, you're not overcoming any problem. You're managing it. That's my own opinion. Like because I made a post on like my community page where I was like, where like other businesses, like the only problem they have to deal with is products, like marketing, like all of that. As a Nigerian entrepreneur, first of all, like this exchange rate thing, right? Between last year and this year, we've increased our price within Nigeria two times, right? Because the economics has to make sense for us. The economics has to make sense. The price of clearing goods, and even though we now mostly produce in house, the materials we still have to source locally are also increasing. When we need to like clear things like our tote bags, our packaging materials, like some of the raw materials we need, we are paying double, right? We are paying
Wow.
double. So things like that, it's just that like as a Nigerian entrepreneur, you can literally wake up with a new problem that you never thought you would have had yesterday. So it's about just like reinventing yourself, learning things better, improving things. Like you can't afford to give up. So instead of like just complaining, looking at okay, how can I improve things? People that are doing better, what are they doing better? I think also having like a very good support system. I think as a as entrepreneurs in general, sometimes you underestimate having like support system because entrepreneurship can make you go crazy. It's so stressful. It's the most stressful job in the
Ever.
world ever. You're
Ever.
doing so many things. I don't care how many people you hire. Like you are doing so many things at the same time.
You
So
really are.
having a support system is important, and just reading other people's stories and knowing that you're not the only one. I would say that one of the challenges that maybe I've been able to like manage better, so it won't be as if I don't have any advice for people. It's like management in terms of like managing people better. And what has really helped me to become a better manager is Coaching, I have had to like, get like an executive coach who is sort of like a what's it called, like an OG in my industry, who has worked in e-commerce in companies that do 1,000 shipments every day, like that kind of volume. Someone who has that kind of experience.
Were you always open to this coaching? Because I found a lot of entrepreneurs have like a friction with, someone coming in to tell them how to run their business. Sometimes it happens. So were you always open to this coaching, or was it something that you just
Like,
realized that?
I've always, to be honest, I feel like it's not something I've always been open to, and it's because and that's because it wasn't something that I thought I needed, right? So,
Yeah.
for example, I really didn't need a, and to be honest, I think that a lot of entrepreneurs, we have like ego issues, and that's perfectly normal because you literally build something from scratch. You're doing like you're working. You've seen this thing that you built from like zero to like seven figures, right? So in your
Hmm.
head, it's like, what's someone coming to do for me? Your assistant to like even get take advice from people. Like you literally even like you can even delete some reviews because like what the fuck are you saying, right? Because we did this. So you need to literally have like that humble moment and also realize that, okay, you know what? I actually need help. Because if people who are sort of like Fortune 500 CEOs are getting help, you and your $100,000 business, you definitely. I'm sorry,
Oh my
guys.
god.
That's why I'm just talking to Tolani. Maybe that's. Let me
Yeah,
continue.
the aim is to be conversational, so it's easier to understand the
Professional. So the
concept.
point is that everybody needs help, and this is me saying that I genuinely think that I should have gotten this a very long time ago, and just listening to people more and not being what's the English here, but being open to
Not
just.
thinking you are superwoman and you can do
Yeah,
everything
yeah, just
yourself.
being open to feedback. Like the ugliest review, the better. Because if a customer is really sharing like an ugly review to you with you, it's how they genuinely feel most of the time. I don't think that people are crazy. I don't think most times someone is just waking up in their house and saying, "Let me go and spoil someone's day." Even though it might not be 100% correct, it's because of how they feel. So just taking reviews, seeking help in whatever areas you need help with. Like for
Hmm.
me, it was mostly management and operations. And even though like I have an head of operations, as CEO, it's very important for you to understand how your business operates, how to make things efficient, so that you are not just like the dummy in a chair, just understanding how to operate things better. So for me, it was management and operations, mostly managing people. So to answer your questions, I think I definitely have improved in the area of like people management and just like business management in terms of like looking at numbers, looking at and how we can improve things, taking responsibility for not just my own actions, but the actions of my team. One thing I've learned is that if someone in your team is failing at something, they're not able to do work well, it's 100% your fault because how have you selected that person for that role? How have you outlined how that person should do that thing? How have you explained?
Hmm.
How have you helped them to be better at the work that they are doing? So these are things that I've really learned from me just having someone with like superior experience leading me through and all of that. So yes, that's something that really helped me. So for you as a business, it could be that it's sales that you need coaching for. It could be that it's marketing. It could be this content thing that you need coaching for and all of that. So definitely getting help where you have like gaps is super
It's
important.
very
There's
important.
nothing, there's really what's it called? There's no substitutes for it. There's absolutely no substitutes for it. Like you don't know what you don't know. That's one thing I always say. You don't know what you don't know. So if you need help, definitely go for it.
So would you say everything works together for you, you being able to access global market and making sales in international markets, selling to customers all over the globe. Everything works 100%. Okay, you don't have to be 100% at everything, but you have to be good enough at everything. People management, financial management, you have to know your numbers, you have to be good at
Yeah,
content, marketing, everything.
no, no, you don't have to be good at everything.
I mean, you
And I
don't have to be good, but your team, you have to have a team
you
around
have
those
to
things.
like build a team, and also your team doesn't have to have everything to start with. Like you're also like learning the ropes as you go. So for
Hmm.
example, there are people who just landed in a new market because they are very good at creating content and their reels are always doing well, their content are always doing well. And for them, the most important thing right now is to just maybe register a business so that they can collect payments easily, to make their shipping efficient. They might not necessarily be doing too much at that time, right? Just
Yeah,
taking it as you go. If you then decide, okay, I want to expand into all forms of marketing, you pick that skill again. But what I always want to say is that as CEO, it's very important that you are in charge of strategy. You are in charge of how you are thinking about things. So even though you are bringing in people to execute for you, you definitely know what you're doing. You know what you guys are trying to achieve. Like that is super important. So you
yeah,
don't need to like hire everybody at the same time. One to two channels is okay for a start. In terms of operations, that is something I would say is is super important because if you're not in like understanding your shipping, your production, your turnover period, like all of those things, you can literally lose money. And those are mistakes that even people like me, I definitely made those mistakes. But then again, it's something that you can learn as you go. Just try and get a partner, someone that you can, like, what I mean by a partner is maybe like a coach, like a consultant, someone that knows what to do, that can sort of like lead you and carry you on. But you don't have to know everything. Like no matter what you try to know at the start, you're still going to make mistakes and you still have to like change things.
definitely.
Just picking like one or two things that you can start with and then improving as you go is what I advise.
Definitely. Thank you so much for this knowledge. Like you're just dropping knowledge back to back. Can see I'm trying not to be in your way of so yeah, thank you so much for that. I'm gonna ask one final question before we close out. So with the opportunities that exist today for global market access and businesses worldwide, if you were in building natural girl wigs, what business would you be doing or would you be doing? Not necessarily business.
Interesting. This is so interesting because I actually sort of like invested in like a fashion business. Yeah, I invested in a fashion business. I think that fashion is something that I would definitely do. Fashion and also beauty, not necessarily in my own category. It doesn't necessarily have to be hair, it could be personal care as well, like just things like that. But fashion is a really good niche. And the reason why I think fashion is a good niche is because the product sort of like sells itself. If it's a good design and people see it, like that was actually one of my driving decision makers for like investing, because with fashion, if people see the product, they immediately identify it and they want it. And it's not like where I mean, I could be wearing this wig from like multiple companies, no one would know. But if I'm wearing like a kaftan design, you would most likely need to find my business and you would most likely want to sort of like ask or where did you get this from? And it would be easily recognizable as well. So I would probably do fashion. I would probably do maybe other aspects of beauty like personal care. I think there's also like a very huge market for makeup as well. I'm sort of like eyeballing like two Nigerian makeup brands that I think that with the right strategy they will really do well in the US. I've looked at what they are doing now and I think that they're not really doing things how they should. So I think that beauty is a category that a Nigerian business can definitely, do well in the global markets, because we have like the black community over there who are very big on makeup, and there's this diaspora connection thing that really makes it like very easy to sort of like, go hand in hand. So for me, beauty, fashion, personal care, those are the categories I would go.
Same here. I just realized we didn't take any questions, and I'm looking at the comment section. I actually don't see any questions. All I'm seeing is
Yeah, 'cause I was actually going to
super
ask that.
excited.
Oh, okay, because I
Well,
was
enjoying this session. Just all
it's
your
actually
fans
so
are
interesting
here.
because I didn't know that I could see comments. So I was like, are people not on this
Oh,
live?
you can't. I can see the comments from me. I'm just not putting them on the screen because I can
Oh,
see the
okay,
comments from those who are
okay.
watching from YouTube.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I can see it now.
yeah, I mean, they're actually no questions. This is everybody else saying, "Well, I really enjoying this session,"
Yeah,
and
I
they've
think
gained a
we're
lot of
speaking very
knowledge.
clearly, and the questions also helped with the direction as well.
Yeah, yeah. I really, wanted us to have like an immersive session where I just go out of your way and let you break down your knowledge. But it was amazing, having you. I hope we get to do something like this again so we can
Absolutely.
have more knowledge shared. I really like that you spoke about fashion and makeup and skincare. I worked with clients like that in the past, and those are industries that those are sub industries I'm really interested in. But as an investor, not I don't want to go through the operations or the headache of running that kind of company. But
Yeah.
yeah, well done on everything. Congratulations on everything.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for giving us your time.
You're welcome.
Hopefully we get to do this again soon. Yeah, any final remarks?
To be honest, good luck to everyone. And again, I genuinely think that as a Nigerian business, this is the time to eat. And also, like, there are always opportunities in like recession, and when there's a downtime, there's always like an opportunity for like a good time. So I think that people should just go deep. Like myself as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, I've learned so much between like late last year till now about even my own business, about my markets, because I've really tried to immerse myself into learning from my customers, learning from the industry through a lot of reading. As an entrepreneur, self-development is very, very important because I feel like people do a lot of self-development when they are working 9 to 5. But when people own businesses, that self-development thing is not really there. Like if you're working in a 9 to 5, you're most likely taking courses, you're trying to improve yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs really don't do that because you think that you're learning in your business. And while you're really learning within your business, you actually need to improve yourself so that you can actually be a boss. And what makes you a boss is to think better, to think clearer than everyone, and to like have, to have like strategy that your team can execute on. So good luck to everyone.
Thank you so much, Remy. Alrighty. Bye,
All right,
everyone.
bye.